Hello guys, and welcome to this Volks Wizard video. Now the Audi R8 needs no introduction. It was launched in 2007 to mass critical acclaim because it was the first time Audi combined quattro all-wheel drive with a chassis that could truly entertain. Now the original version was available as a V8 or a V10. You could have a manual gearbox or an automatic. You could even have an open-top Spider version as well as a coupe. Now in 2015 all that changed with the introduction of the brand new Mark II R8 that had a lot in common with the Lamborghini Huracan that came out in 2014. For that R8 things were a lot simpler. You could only have a V10 engine for a start, but that was no bad thing because with that engine fitted there was finally no doubt as to whether the R8 was a proper supercar. It for definite was. You could only have an automatic gearbox as well, but to be honest that's what most buyers want, so Audi were doing the right thing there. But you could still have a Spider or you could have a coupe. Now, over recent months there have been many reports about the imminent demise of the R8. It's going to be deleted from the range so development teams can concentrate on electric cars, but I'm pleased to report that is completely not true, because in September I was invited to the factory to preview a facelift version of this car, which pretty much guarantees its place in the range for the next 3 to 4 years. Now unfortunately we weren't allowed to film there, but the next best thing is that I borrowed this car from Audi UK. It's a pre-facelift car, but I can show you using the photos from that preview event where the changes are going to take place. Okay, well there's no doubt about it, this is a great looking car, but the new version does knock spots off it because the front end is a lot more aggressive, it's a lot more technical. To my eyes it looks a lot more like a McLaren, and that's probably no coincidence because they have a rival in the market now with the McLaren 540C. So how have they made it look more aggressive? Well, they've given the car a lot more grills for a start. These outer grills now, instead of being like pretty boring rectangles, are two much more interesting shapes. There's also a fake grille located in here now, much like the ones on the outside of the headlights on the RS4, but the purpose is the same. They're there to make the headlights look larger. And you've also got the 3 nostrils, they call them, which were inspired by the original short wheelbase Quattro Sport. We've also seen them reintroduced now on the Audi A1 S-Line, and they look incredible. So there's these rectangular lines there. Unfortunately, them are non-functional, but they still look pretty cool. The spoiler is also a lot more aggressive because this looks like an A3 really. You've got this big body colour section here. Well, this is all gone now, and you've got a winglet here that can be carbon, or it can be titanium finish or matte aluminium. Whatever is used for this bit can be used there, and it sort of breaks up the front a lot and makes it look a lot more interesting, a lot more aggressive. And you know, if you want a supercar to look like a supercar, not just sound like a supercar, which is what this version does, that's the way to do it, and I think it looks superb. There are a couple new wheel styles, including a 20-inch forged wheel. Back to the styling, and the sills are remarkably different. Now this is a real plain sill. It's got, like, could have been done by a designer in a few minutes. On the new version it's a lot more interesting. So instead of being body coloured top to bottom, there's a break halfway along where you get the matte aluminium or you get the carbon fibre finish, and that then gets a bit wider as you get towards the side blade here, which ties in with the side blade. So that looks a lot more interesting. You can also have the windscreen surround in black on the Spider version, which ties in. If you've got like the black grille, you then don't have the clashing of the aluminium surround and the black grille. You can also have the badges in black, which has already been seen on the A1. It's something people have been doing with eBay purchases for years, but now finally Audi give you that as a factory option. The back of the car has been caught a lot in spy shots at the Nürburgring, and what was obvious from those shots is that there is now a full width grille around the number plate area. So basically it's grille all the way from here to here on the coupe, and then on the Spider you get this extra grille here on this car and the facelift car. So basically on the Spider it's grille all the way from here to here, which looks insane. It looks like a proper supercar, and again very McLaren-esque. McLarens have got a lot of open air bits at the back of their cars for cooling, and again it looks a lot more like a supercar if it's got all that. It also looks like the Lamborghini Gallardo facelift model because that had a full width grille across the back of it. Now the exhaust tips on this car are trapezoidal, I think that's the word for them. On the new car they go to oval, which ties in with the rest of the RS range. There's also 3D styling to the exhaust tips, which is like an insert into the tip that gives it a lot of depth to it, how it looks. There's also a lot more going on here with the same colours that you see down the side. You can have the matte aluminium or carbon, much bolder surrounds to the exhaust tip than they are on here. The centre diffuser is pretty similar. I mean, this is a seriously aggressive diffuser as it is, but I think it's slightly restyled, but it's still pretty similar to this car. Now the braking system is barely changed from this car. There's a bit of recalibration to the ESC, which means they've been able to shorten the stopping distances significantly, but the hardware is the same. One difference now is that you've always been able to order red calipers with steel brakes, black, that you can see here as standard. With the carbon ceramics you can order a red caliper as well, but the standard on the carbon ceramic is grey. Tyres are very interesting on this car. So up until now it's been largely Pirelli or Continental, but with the new model, even though the preview cars were still on Pirellis, Michelin are now going to supply the tyres. And that's great because it means that you can now factory order an R8 with Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tyres. Now, I don't know if you know about these tyres, but they're fitted to some of the best cars in the world, like the Bugatti Chiron, 911 GT3, even the Golf GTI Club Sport S. And the fact you can order them on an R8 gives it a lot more track credibility than it's ever had. So that's a really good statement of intent from Audi. Okay, let's remind ourselves about the interior of the Mark II R8, because by all accounts it's not going to change an awful lot with the facelift. The only change we were told about was that you can now get Palomino brand leather, which looked great on the Kimura Grey Spider. I think it was originally an option on the TTRS, part of the exclusive pack, but now you can get it on the R8 and it looks really cool. I'll just get inside because, as I say, this is going to remain largely unchanged on the new car, but that's no bad thing because it is probably one of the nicest interiors of any car. So the steering wheel has got knobs on it, which you don't get on any other cars. Normally the start button's in the centre console, drive select's on a funny little button there, but you've got them right where you need them. On some models there's also, you can toggle the traction control with a button there, and you get a picture of an exhaust if it's got a sports exhaust, though whether you really need a sports exhaust on this car I'm not so sure about. I'll turn it off so you can actually hear me, it's so loud with the roof down. Okay, so we've got pedals here. They are a bit cheap, I've got to say. Even the V10 Plus has got these, so they could do with changing those, but whether they will on the facelift, I don't know. We've obviously got virtual cockpit. This is becoming quite common on cars now. It's still optional on some, but it's standard on the R8, and it's brilliant. You can vary the size of the gauges and the navigation. And obviously being full LCD, it just makes the whole infotainment thing just nicer to look at. So let's go back to the map. You've got these nice switches here, which are quite stylish. Okay, yeah, so you've got the fan, and you've got the climate control temperature, and which vents are working and which aren't. You've got heated seats there, and a few buttons there like start stop. Yeah, it's got a start stop, traction control, and hazard warning light, parking sensors there. The automatic shifter is the new style, which you see on the new A7, A8, I think A6, and it's pretty cool because you just turn the key off and it automatically goes into park, which is a nice touch. Takes a bit of getting used to, but you soon realise it's a step in the right direction. Now, we haven't got the touchscreens of the new A6 and A7, we haven't even got the partial touchscreen of the new Q3. We've just got the old MMI controller down here, which I quite like, so that's no bad thing for me, and it works well with the virtual cockpit, although you kind of do expect that to relate to a screen there, but yeah, you soon get used to that. So yeah, that's a really nice interior. Okay, I think it's time to go for a drive now, don't you? And while we do that, I'll talk you through the engines, because there are quite a few changes to them. Okay guys, here we are behind the wheel of the R8 V10 Spider, and what an incredible car. I only drove one a week ago and I kind of missed it in that time. It's great to be back behind the wheel. This is just like the one I drove in Spain back in 2016. Now, thankfully, there have not been an awful lot of changes under the bonnet in the facelift car. It's still roughly the same V10 engine, normally aspirated. What they have done is given us a bit more power. So this 540 version, the entry-level car, is up to 570, and torque goes up from 540 Newton meters to 550 Newton meters, and that has the effect of shaving the 0 to 60 time by 0.1 seconds. That's for both the Spider and the Coupe. So the Coupe does it now in 3.4 seconds, and this Spider is 3.5 seconds. The V10 Plus, or now the V10 Performance model, goes up from 610 PS to 620 PS, but the torque goes up from 560 Newton meters to 580 Newton meters, and 0 to 60 time now on the Coupe is 3.1. On the Spider it's 3.2, but it's not all about 0 to 60 time this car. visceral engine that even in this entry-level pre-facelift car is phenomenal. Now the big difference with the new engine is that there's they call it an Otto particulate filter, but basically it's a petrol particulate filter, and that obviously doesn't seem to affect performance too much because it's you know, they've managed to get more. Well, I think it's only fitting that we go the full Monty and drop the roof, so let's see how we get on. And we're good to go, so pop into drive, road's clear. So last time I did this, I was in Catalonia. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed this preview of the new R8 V10. If you have, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and see you for the next one soon.